Hey, good afternoon. Ooh, my bling is problematic this afternoon. Hello, welcome to today's Chat and Chill, the exclusive brought to you by Next Showcase USA. I'm Tyra Martin, your host. We've got a great show for you today. We're going to get to a big event that's coming up next week that all of us are a part of, that's benefiting musicians and artists, songwriters across the city and eventually around the world, certainly. But today we're going to talk to some hometown guys that are really making a difference in the industry, music industry, entertainment industry. Our first guest, you know him if you're watching this from outside of Chicago as an iHeartMedia personality. He's done interviews. I've traveled, I want to say the world. I've been around on a trip with Kyle a couple of times for film junkets. But those here in Chicago know him as host of WGCI's morning show. Kyle, come on in.
What's up? What's up?
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm going to get rid of some stuff making noise on my computer. How you been?
I'm great, Tyra. It's good to see you. Your bling is blinging.
It is. It might be.
Magnificently. You know what I mean?
Have to de-bling.
No, don't de-bling. You shine it. Keep shining.
Bring the bling down a little bit. Yeah, and I guess that's the great message. Don't bring your bling down.
Exactly.
For other people.
You got to keep shining no matter what.
Right. You all will just have to suffer through my bling.
Exactly.
Are you guys back in studio?
Not really, kind of, sort of, you know what I mean? I think as, and this is not anything official, but maybe as people are getting more vaccinated, you know, that will kind of turn the tide in terms of being back in the studio. Personally, I've gotten vaccinated, so I might pop up there every once in a while, but not necessarily on an everyday thing. So
for people who only know your voice from the radio, tell us, you're a transplant Chicago boy.
Yeah.
Tell us about your East Coast roots.
So I'm born in Philadelphia. I spent my young years in West Philadelphia, and then at a certain age.
Were you born and raised?
Not raised. I think I would be disingenuous if I said raised, because I guess in about second grade, my parents moved us out of the city into basically what would be the New Jersey suburbs of Philadelphia. So I'm born in West Philly. Philadelphia is the root for both sides of my family, mother and father's side. But I grew up about 25 minutes outside of the city. So still in the region, but not necessarily in the city itself. So the Philadelphia region, metropolitan area is still home to me. But I grew up in South Jersey, Franklinville, New Jersey, small town outside of the city. And, that's kind of home for me. That's home.
How'd you land in storytelling?
You mean just like radio and just kind of being?
Because that's what you do. I think that's what we do for a living. When you're interviewing people, you're telling their story. When you're filling time in between songs, tell stories. Yeah,
I honestly think my whole career is by chance, to be honest. I was one of those guys back in the day that wanted to be a rapper and all of these kind of things. very much involved in music, right? So I ended up going to Winston-Salem State University, HBCU in North Carolina. And I was going, because I love music so much, my major was going to be music business. But at Winston-Salem State, for you to have a music business major, you had to play an instrument. So I was like, well, I'm not playing no instrument. So the closest I could get to music was being a radio television major. So I switched my major to radio and television. And then I got my internship at a radio station. And then one thing led to another.
Do you remember your first interview?
I do not. I know that sucks, but I do not. I couldn't tell you who my first interview was.
What is your favorite interview?
Favorite interviews might be maybe Jamie Foxx. I recently just, I think one of my most impactful interviews for me personally might have been DMX. I just recently posted that up with him.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so DMX is definitely one. I love talking with Common. He was always cool. Kanye was a big one. I don't know if it was necessarily my favorite, but that was probably one of the biggest ones. You know what I mean? So those are some ones that I remember.
Yeah, you guys got international attention with that Kanye.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was literally broke news.
Yeah. I mean, that was the time he came on with us not too long after he had wore the MAGA hat on. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or so. I forget exactly which one it was. So that was like the first interview since he had did that. So a lot of people were definitely trying to hear from him at that time.
Let's talk about your interview style. So when we talk about the conversation you had with Kanye, when we talk about the conversation you had with DMX, where, and this might just be the way radio has changed a little bit, and you guys are leading the way on that, certainly here in Chicago, but it could have been a really surface conversation, and let them lead what they want to talk about when it comes to uncomfortable subjects. But with DMX and certainly with Kanye, you know, polite and professional, but pointed. You know, we're asking you this for the sake of information. Talk about kind of integrating journalism into entertainment.
I think in terms of interviews, man, the whole purpose of the interview is to ask the questions that the average person listening to the radio station wants to know the answer to. You know, and I think there are a lot of celebrities that don't want to answer these questions over and over again at times, or don't want to get into that. And there's definitely been situations where they may not have wanted to, but I always feel like if you don't want to talk about it, just don't answer it. Like we still have to at least give us the opportunity to ask it. You know what I mean? Even with the situation with, I know we're talking about DMX a lot because he just passed, but even before he passed, I always use that interview as an example for me, because it was in that interview at the time, nobody had really talked to him about, at least that I know of publicly on record, about his drug addiction. And mind you, that interview goes back to the days of MySpace. So no Twitter, no Instagram. You know, if you didn't hear the interview on the radio, you probably never knew about it. You know what I mean? And I remember just kind of like wanting to ask him about the crack addiction, because that story had just broken not too long before that. And not knowing that DMX is known for just being a wild guy. You know what I mean? You know, just that interview was just a lesson that you can ask anybody anything you want to ask, as long as you present it in a way that's respected. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember after that interview going like, yo, DMX just admitted smoking crack to us. Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? But not knowing how he was going to respond before we asked the question. So that in itself was just a lesson for me, and I always carry that with me.
Yeah, I mean, when you approach somebody with integrity, usually they respond with integrity.
Right, exactly. Yep.
And that said, who's on your wish list?
I don't even think I have a wish list anymore, man. I've been doing
I know, and that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been doing it 22 years now. I don't necessarily have a wish list. Whoever, you know, there's a lot of people, of course, I still admire. But at this point, you know, I'll talk to whoever. You know what I mean? I don't even necessarily know that I get the nervousness about talking to people anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it takes a lot to shake me. There's a few of the big legends that will still, you sit down and you look and you take a breath like, okay, it's just a person. We're having a conversation.
Right.
But every once in a while, like the legends, we'll get a little sweat right here.
And I think that's the thing. I think most of the people that I really look up to in that way aren't necessarily artists that are of the moment anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to get, you know, flustered about, you know, interviewing most people that are popular right now.
But who's popular right now? If you could write a wish list of anybody, music history, you know, legends in the recording business, or outside of it, who would you want if you got the get right now? You know what? Maybe Will Smith. I've never met Will Smith. You've never had Will. Okay. Never met Will Smith. I think Will Smith would be great. I'd love to have a conversation with him. I got a chance to meet Jazzy Jeff, but not Will Smith before. So definitely Will Smith is up there. Yeah, I've had the opposite. I've had Will for an interview before. It's everything you want it to be. But I've never talked to Jeff. I've never interviewed Jeff. I just kind of met him in different like club environments. Right. Take a couple of pictures here and there, but definitely Will Smith. And I would love to talk to Jazzy Jeff, because Jazzy Jeff is probably the person that influenced me to even want to be a part of the music business in the first place. I remember as a kid listening to those early Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff albums, and listening to Jazzy Jeff scratch on these albums that made me want to be a DJ, which led to everything else that I've done in my life. So Jazzy Jeff is definitely up there as one of the greats in terms of like, you know, how I see some of these celebrities. He was probably the most influential in getting me involved in just the music industry, period. And then Will Smith, because of everything that he's done and represented, and how far he's just kind of pushed the whole movement. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And several different streams of the movement. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And I think Jeff doesn't get enough credit for all of the work he's done. You know, when you think about production, when you think about the business side, I mean, he's Geppetto in a lot of cases. And I think people don't fully recognize that.
And he's literally one of the best DJs on this planet. Like, I love the respect that DJ D Nice is getting right now, but I don't think there's anybody on this planet that could touch Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I agree. Okay, worst interview.
I hate even talking about this interview because I really don't need it to resurface. But
have you tried to put it behind you, whatever it is?
Yeah, I have. But it was with a comedian who, for whatever reason, I'm not even gonna say his name. It was a comedian, a well-known comedian who, for whatever reason, thought that we were trying to play him. And then towards the end of the interview, he admitted that he was like, "Man, I'm sorry. I just be paranoid sometimes, man. The drugs. Sometimes they make me paranoid, and I just think that people are trying to attack me when they're not." So just the admitting that the drug. I'm not even gonna put his name out there, but I was like, "Yo, this dude is crazy. Like, he's bipolar or something." You know what I mean?
But they're tough interviews. Comedians are, because if they're not on,
right,
then it's awful.
It can be, right. Exactly. You know what? But here's what I've always was been surprising to me, Tyra. Like, a lot of times you may have maybe meeting somebody for the first time and you're going to interview them and you have a whole perception of who they are based on whatever their art is, music or movies or whatever. And then when you meet the person, it's the opposite. It's people that I thought were going to be jerks that were like the coolest people ever. Right. People at the time that I thought I wouldn't like because of whatever reason. And then when you sit in the room and you talk to them, you're like, yo, this person is really cool as hell. It's like the image that people see in public is not always the person that they are behind the scenes.
Right. It's their job.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned that with Ice Cube years ago. Like, because back in the day, like, I don't know how far back everybody that's watching this goes. Like, Ice Cube was, doing all that West Coast stuff, especially during the height of the East Coast, West Coast beef. I used to be really mad at Ice Cube. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And I think I met him. It might have been like 99 or 2000.
Okay.
And we had a conversation, and I wasn't even interviewing him. One of my coworkers was interviewing him. I just happened to be in the studio at the radio station at the time. So when things were off mic, we were just talking. I was like, yo, this dude is really super cool. Like, this dude, he's one of the greatest. Like, you know what I mean? But if I'd have never had the opportunity to meet him, I'd have just been mad at him because of everything that I had seen on TV, But
that's the persona that he created.
Right. True.
Engage that kind of, angst between the coasts, and it paid off literally and figuratively for him.
Yeah. People died behind it too, though.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. Well, and then here's a great bridge to a conversation about what responsibility musicians have to their community. There's a huge debate often, certainly here in Chicago, are these young men and women, because some of their language, some of their lyrics are a little more challenging than I think certainly my generation is used to hearing from female rappers. But, do they have a responsibility? Where do you separate entertainment and inspiration or civil responsibility?
I think my perspective has always been you have a responsibility to the truth. Some people's truth can be harsh for other people. So I just don't like when there's artists that are clearly not living a certain lifestyle, that lifestyle. That's when it gets a little funny. If you are somebody who has been through whatever it is that you've been through, and then you're telling that story, then it is what it is. That's just the truth. You know what I mean? But the problem, I think, lies in when one person's truth is popular. So now all these other artists are trying to mimic that, that content, that style of music, or whatever the case may be. And that's not really their lifestyle. Like, I really do believe that, somebody like Jay-Z, when he talks about, whatever stories that he's been through in the streets before he got on, I believe that, and I think there's been enough credible.
But you're talking about a different kind of writer, though, when you talk about Jay-Z and you talk about some of the music that's out now.
Well, I don't know, because we're talking about the content, right? Because there's a lot of people that are talking, whatever the content is, whether it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right, or like if it's really you, then it's really you, and I don't have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying?
Jay is a better storyteller, I think.
Yeah, but are we talking about being able to tell the stories, or are we talking about what the stories are about?
Well, at the end of the day, a well-told story about something unfortunate kind of creates empathy for the listener, and a different perspective than just I'm shouting about who I shot or who I'm going to shoot tomorrow.
Right. I mean, I get it. Like I said, my only issue sometimes is if you're lying about that. If that's if that's not really your lifestyle, that's my issue. If that's really your lifestyle and you're portraying what it is you've really been through, then it is what it is. But I think back to your question about responsibility, I think the responsibility is that you're being truthful with whatever it is you're putting forward.
Do you think audiences can tell when it's not real?
I used to think so. I don't think so anymore.
Mm.
I used to think so because nowadays I just feel like everything is just flooded with whatever people think is popular or whatever people think is the way that they have to go in order to get on in the music business. I think there was a time when people were like, a little bit more discerning about whether or not they believed artists that lived through this or that or whatever. But I don't know. I think that I don't know if the average person is able to do that anymore.
Do you think, and to that point where you've got people kind of creating these personalities that they want people to believe or that is trendy right now, do you think art imitates life, or is life imitating art, or is it a continuum and it just that keeps happening?
I think it's almost like a snowball effect. Like one influences the other. They both influence each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think they both influence each other for real.
So we're in this new age about regular kind of record distribution. It's not like it was 20 years ago. It's not even like it was 10, 15 years ago.
No, right? Yeah.
How has digital exposure and availability changed the way radio works?
I think it's changed radio in terms of where the songs come from. You know what I mean? Because nowadays a song could be popping on TikTok, and from there it makes its way to the radio.
Right.
In that sense, I think that's how it's changed things. I think radio has always been single driven, so from that aspect, it's not really changing much there because a radio station is not playing whole albums anyway. But where those singles are coming from is now different digital spaces, whether it's TikTok or this song has 80 million views on YouTube and now everybody likes that. You know what I mean? So I think the sources of what makes songs popular first pushes to radio. I think that's what's different.
Let me ask you, what's the last artist that you were disappointed that they did not do better, number wise, recognition wise? Who were you rooting for?
That's a good question, man. In today's era, even though these guys aren't necessarily, they don't have anything out at this very moment, I'm still like, the J. Cole, Kendrick, that lane in terms of what I listen to in my personal time. Like that's where I'm at. But I think those guys have done well. You know what I mean? So it's not that they haven't done well. I think that they have. You know what I mean? In terms of the other stuff that I listen to, it's not really going to be radio or mainstream stuff anyway. Like I listen to Griselda all the time, Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine, West Side Gun. Those guys make real street music, so I don't really expect that music to be on the radio anyway. Mm-hmm. On my personal time, that's what I listen to. Like the stuff that I'm listening to is not going to be radio play anyway.
And what determines that kind of level of excellence for you? What is it about those artists and their music are you drawn to?
Beats, flows, bar structure, content, you know what I'm saying? The ability to, like you said, storytelling. Like I think Conway the Machine is incredible with the storytelling. Like Conway is crazy. That's probably of the artists that are out right now, that's who I'm really listening to the most. But those guys can really rap. Like these guys can really rap and put together sentences with words that rhyme and patterns that are crazy. Like that's always for me been what I appreciate about real MCs and hip hop, and the ones that are really dope to me can really put together song structures and words in a way that other people can't.
Right. How many markets have you worked in?
Just two.
Just two.
Greensboro, North Carolina, and Chicago.
Man.
Yeah.
That's a great jump.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've been fortunate in that way. I know a lot of radio personalities might work 2 years in this city, 3 years in that city, end up moving all over the country. For me, that hasn't been my experience, so I'm lucky. I started at that radio station in Greensboro I used to work at was the same one I told you I got my internship at. Mm-hmm. So I got my internship there. I was an intern for maybe 6 months and got hired as a part-timer. I was a part-timer for 2 years, got hired as a full-timer. I was working nights from 7 to midnight for 2 years. And then I got moved to the morning show, and I did the morning show there for 11 years. I was laid off for 6 months and then landed in Chicago.
That's awesome. My story is similar to that. I had the internship at G, and they hired me out of the internship.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
So it does happen. Yeah.
Yeah, not much anymore though, man. Not much anymore. It's kind of, the industry is changing.
So for folks who want to get in that side, your side of the music business, what's your advice for landing behind a microphone?
I think it's tougher now because of the fact that I feel like internships are a little bit more limited. Mm-hmm. I think people are competing with people that are creating online presences, mm-hmm. whether it be YouTube or Instagram and things of that nature. So, now with social media having so much influence on entertainment in general, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to compete with somebody that's got 500,000 followers on Instagram. Right. I don't know. I mean, it kind of pollutes the game a little bit to me, but that's what people are looking for now. They want the people to have all of these followers and this, that, and the third, but they might not be that talented, but they might get the job over you because they have followers. It's crazy. I don't know what advice I'd have for people. I guess create your own platform and, try to build your own platform up enough that you start getting attention that way, and it could lead to other things.
Oh, well, I agree. We're going to talk to you later. We're going to leave you. And then, I think we're bringing everybody. We're going to slowly stare everybody in. Okay, so let's hand off from you now to Sigma Chris. So we've talked about the radio side of music business and industry. So these artists are coming from somewhere. And there's teams of people that kind of help them shape and discern what their voice will be, what their sound will be, and help them navigate the system. One of those people is Sigma Chris. Let's bring him in.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, how are you?
What up?
I'm good. Thanks for asking.
So I'm going to jump into the same question I just asked him. Who are you disappointed didn't do as well as you hoped they would do?
I think that's very subjective. Like, disappointment would be more so for me, like the content that they put out more so than sales. Because I don't think that sales drives a lot of the music that I kind of listen to either. So in terms of disappointment, there's a guy he used to go by Phil Ade. He now goes by Ade. He's from the DMV. He's still virtually unknown in terms of underground artists, but he released 2 projects that had some pretty decent features. I thought he had a pretty good backing, and it just didn't pick up any traction. And I thought it was 2 solid projects. So yeah.
Why did that happen?
Just the machine you have behind you, the buzz that's going on right now. Like Kyle was mentioning earlier, things are so social media driven now that it's not even really about the art. And so true artists do kind of suffer in this era because, I mean, when you're an artist, you put thousands of hours into your craft. You're always trying to see if something sounds right. You're going over bars, you're going over metaphors, and then not knocking this, but then you have some maybe 15, 16-year-old that goes viral. And it sways the entire industry to kind of look for that next sensation versus fostering true talent, giving us records that'll last for years. We don't really get as much of that anymore mainstream, specifically because people are chasing dollars. Like they just see the dollar signs behind it.
So these kids can only be kind of responsible for what they have learned or know. Who's dropping the ball in the industry that's not getting the bigger picture to them? Like, yes, followers are important right now, mm-hmm. but we've seen what social media does, and it might completely change in another 5 years, and something else will be important. This is how you build longevity. This is how you build a legacy of music. Why are they not getting that?
Well, I don't think that they don't get it. I think that they're doing it for a specific purpose. Obviously, money is a motivator in a lot of things. When you're looking at views, digitally, you want to go with the sure bet. Like, labels aren't really bringing up artists anymore. They're coming to find the microwave ready artists to be presented already. You have proof of sales. You have a following on TikTok and Instagram. So those are your fans already. And at that moment, you have to look and say, do I need the label? that's also a conversation that probably needs to be had. But I don't think that they're being sent off. I think that it's just a shift in the way music is consumed, as well as the demand from the younger crowd. Like, even though I don't like the music, I have little cousins that love it. And that's the music that they're growing up on. Just like when I was a big Bone Thugs and Harmony fan. My parents didn't like them. You know, like I had the Biggie CD. My dad took it from me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just every generation goes through that thing where it's like, I don't really like this music, but it's just not for us. Like, it's not for our age range.
Part of what you do is kind of create relationships between artists and brands, right?
Yes, a little bit of everything. Yeah,
a little bit of everything. Yeah, and one of the things you do. How are businesses responding to today's music? Like, are they overlooking little things that might be problematic? Or are they counting on that because they know, again, that's clicks, that's likes, that's shares?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that is a very broad question in terms of each business has their own different goals. I just had a meeting on Monday where the company wants to infuse music with the current product that they're selling. Obviously, without releasing details of what the company is. They basically wanted to really dig into the pulse of Chicago, like to a lot of underground artists, to help, couple with their product and give them some exposure as well. I think that companies realize music, social media, TikTok, these are things of the future. These are things that are here to stay. And younger people dictate the waves in buying and purchasing. They have a ability to galvanize thousands at a time, and just support one thing and send it through the moon,
or cancel it.
Exactly. And honestly, I don't see them really. They didn't really pitch too many problems to me in terms of like what they did not want to see. Obviously, I have some discernment when it comes to, we don't want to tell the same old story. Grew up hard. It's hard here in Chicago, and this is how we relate to the product. Like, that's one thing that I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of like trauma porn and things like that, like where we're constantly beating over others that look like us and sound like us with the same narrative that we're struggling, we're this, we're that. Like, we're looking for some positive stories, some real talent, and we want to highlight good things in your life. So I think that that's one thing that's overplayed in the industry, the fact that we're all struggling until we make it. And, that those stories just continuously, that's just the narrative out there. So.
And here's a question for both of you guys. Do cities or regions still have a sound per se? Like, what is Chicago's sound? Is that still a thing?
I think so. I think they do, but just not as much as it used to be. You know what I mean? Like, even in the music, when you talk about Chicago, like, I hear a lot of Chicago slang coming out of artists from other cities now. There was a time period where if you didn't live in a certain city, you had no idea what the slang was in that city. And again, I know we keep bringing up DMX. It's funny too, because I listened to Get At Me Dog the other day, and he said, "Let me holler at you, youngin', Baltimore." Like, because at the time in that year, Baltimore was like the only region that was saying youngin'. Now, like, everybody says young. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think with the internet and everybody kind of knowing what everybody does, those lines blend a little bit more. But even within that, there are certain things. Like, Chicago definitely has its own certain sound amongst, like, just the way other cities do.
I thought that was interesting, what you said about the slang and really connecting that. I never thought about that. Specifically to your question, I think that the drill scene took over music, man. Like, you got guys in the UK right now sounding like, they're from 63rd. Right. Not to be cliche, but you see the world saying a lot of things that we grew up on, and it's so interesting to hear people like yell these things out and kind of say them in celebration when, like, I'm born and raised here in Chicago. So it's like, the history behind some of the things that people are saying. And it's like, I don't think you know what that means. Like, so it's really interesting seeing people do that, like, engage in our culture so deeply and so comfortably. Like, yeah, it's interesting.
When you're working with these events, or what does event and marketing look like right now? And what are we, maybe the third quarter of the pandemic?
Hopefully the home. Who knows? It's more hectic for me because I have to consider so many different rules. I have to follow so many safety protocols. You're constantly on edge, like, is this person violating? Is somebody going to get sick? Is the city going to come in and shut it down? Like, are we following all the rules? So right now, event curating and marketing is a very meticulous job. Like, I have to really have all my I's dotted, T's crossed. I have to really be on point. But it's made me a better curator. It made me more organized, and it makes me pay attention to more detail. There's certain nuances of the business that I never really like knew about. And this, like, promoting over this pandemic and working with these companies, man, it's just really giving me so much insight. So yeah,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just a little different than it was before.
But are you doing, is it virtual now, or how are you integrating what you can do in public with what you need to do message wise?
So I've been doing in-person events. I've actually been in the city right now, we can have groups of, according to the phase that we're in, we can have groups of 10 seated indoor. We can't have any more than 50 people on a floor. But a lot of the venues that I work at, we're broken up into different floors. So you can get 50 here, 50 there, 50 there.
Sure.
Yeah, and then, you just keep the spaces social distance 6 feet apart, or we have like the glass protectors to keep you from the next party. So it's been interesting just navigating that and kind of seeing people still want to come out and still having a good time. In terms of the music space, we recently just had one of our, I was doing a drive-in festival. It was a drive-in festival for Chicago artists, for up-and-coming Chicago artists. The city pulled the plug on that as the numbers started to go higher. The place that we had, they were actually struggling with their licensing, and the city didn't approve us to do the drive-in festival at fear that it would get kind of out of control. So unfortunately, we had to nix that. But that was going to be the next big in-person event that I was working on.
Carl, do you miss that part of the business, being able to be kind of in the mix?
Yeah, absolutely. Because for me, like, radio's half of it, and being outside is the other half. So it's literally like I'm missing like half my lifestyle right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm on the radio, and then I'm in my basement. I'm on the couch. So I absolutely. I mean, and even I've said it many times throughout my career, like, the radio part is cool, but at the end of the day, you're in a room with like 3 or 4 other people, and you really don't get the grasp on the impact that you have on the radio until you're out amongst people. And then people are like, yo, I remember, you guys said this morning, or you guys were talking about that this morning. People want to argue with you. People want to tell you that they agree with you. You know what I mean? All of those kind of things. So just not being out in that environment is kind of like I'm missing that whole half of that lifestyle. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna slide in our next guest. We're going to keep building. So everybody's trying to figure out new ways to do what they used to do to support the interests and activities and new artists that they kind of want to align themselves with, and people are being forced to pivot. The next guest we're bringing in today is Jeff, and I apologize in advance because people butcher my name every day. I think it's Osuji. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I respect.
You are correct. You got
it. Everybody is owed to hear their name. If nothing else, you should hear your name correctly when someone
that speaks. That doesn't usually happen on the first try. I commend you.
Amen. Look at God. So everybody's trying to pivot, and let's tell folks who Jeff is. He's a tech CEO, real estate innovator. But I love the way you kind of word that. I'd love to know what that looks like to you practically. But those are two things that everybody is kind of touching on right now. It's accessible. It's an accessible way to expand the streams of income. Yeah. And certainly right now, talk a little bit about what you do.
Definitely. So a number of things. I wear a number of hats. Been an event promoter for over 15 years. A lot of people, don't understand. I think the promoters are very undervalued in terms of our ability to just kind of reach people, connect with people, build relationships, especially in the city of Chicago. So, been an event promoter for over 15 years, and launched an event platform called Event Noir, just because I felt there needed to be more ownership in the value chain for event promoters. A lot of times we don't own the clubs that we promote and make millions. We don't own the liquor brands that we promote. And so it was important for us to kind of launch something and own a piece of that event value chain. So we're building the largest, what we hope to be one day, the largest platform for Black events called Event War. And that's what I've been heavily focused on during the pandemic, just kind of working on that technology. We're excited that we're a part of the Mountain Dew's Real Change Opportunity Fund. So you might have seen our commercial air on BET and VH1. We're competing for a pool of $1 million right now. But the main thing there is building a platform where we can have a central platform for Black events, but also give money in terms of ticket fees for organizations and event curators in the industry.
It seems like you're uniquely qualified kind of to oversee all of this, where a lot of people have to farm out some of that, planning or idea building. You kind of have a sense of each of the tenets of that.
Yeah, since 19, I've been an entrepreneur, so it's always been important for me to be able to launch businesses, and because I'm able to leverage relationships, able to bring the right people in. And we talk about music and people being independent, but no matter what you're doing to run a business, you need a team and you need people behind you. So yeah, I mean, I've studied business for years. I've built businesses, and I've been leveraging the pandemic to leverage real estate in terms of getting my friends, family, and network into ownership to own places, but also working on my own businesses to help just really pushing for ownership right now. I think that's really what we've learned is that during the pandemic, people who own are making a lot of money, right? If you're talking about tenants versus landlords, their landlords might be losing money, but the most people that are suffering the most are shift workers, folks who are essential workers, and so that's really what we're pushing right now is ownership, real estate, tech, and entertainment as well.
I want to go back to that event noir concept that you're talking about. So what does that look like practically for artists and musicians in Chicago?
So for what our vision is, well, we've been around for a couple of years now. We've been consistently working on listening to what artists, promoters, club owners want from a platform. We've kind of bootstrapped and we've working on making sure that this technology is the perfect technology for artists, for say, to come and host an event of their own and make money not just on the tickets, but also make money on the ticket fees. Right? One year we paid Eventbrite $75,000 in ticket fees, and that we were like, what if that money stayed in our community? What if we were able to actually use those funds? So our goal for artists is to be able to allow them to maximize their revenue by hosting events, concerts, showcases. Maybe they charge $5, but each ticket they sell, they can make an extra $1.50, $2. That can go a long way when you're talking about selling tickets. Furthermore, with the Event War, we haven't done too much marketing as of yet. We're just leveraging our relationships, but we're raising money right now so that we can do some heavy marketing so that when an artist puts one of their events on our platform, we're able to help them reach more people, reach more consumers. We feel like the other ticket platforms are too broad, and our influence on arts, culture, entertainment is big enough. If you have one platform people can go to, they can get extra exposure. And as as Simon Chris is speaking to, everything right now is about marketing if you're an artist and having a team behind you and the people behind you.
You talked a little bit about the key to folks that are able to financially thrive in this environment right now has been some level of ownership outside of what they do for a check. What was your first job? And you said you've been an entrepreneur since 19. How did you start that?
Well, man, during college, I actually sold Air Force Ones and white tees my freshman year. Because I quickly realized down at the University of Illinois that there was a big gap especially in minority students. There were my friends who grew up on farms and were millionaire farmers, right? Mm-hmm. And they were friends I had class with whose parents were sending them, $10,000 a month. And I realized there was a huge gap. And so I knew I had to do something. But I actually launched an event company in college, Pyramid Productions, which has grown into a company that's done events throughout the country and even in Africa. And we are a certified minority business supplier. So we've been focusing on building that brand for 15 years. And that kind of evolved into us launching Event War. I also, during the pandemic, I launched a health company that focuses on health disparities called MD Newsline. And that's focusing on, really COVID has really impacted people in my family and friends deeply. And we tried to launch a platform that educated doctors about cultural sensitivity and how to improve patient outcomes. So that's another company I focus on, dealing with pharma companies. And then in addition to that, I decided to get my real estate license because I had a number of friends who were trying to learn how to navigate the real estate process. And I've been investing in real estate since about 2016. So one thing I knew was, and I've heard about, millionaires and people who are wealthy, is they always have multiple streams. And thankfully, I've been able to leverage the pandemic to kind of pivot, and while still building our technology so that when events come back full throttle, because I believe the Roaring 20s are coming back, people are going to be in the streets.
My daughter just asked me that yesterday, bro, or the day before yesterday. She said, "Do I think that the Roaring 20s are coming back, coming out of the pandemic?" That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. If you look at history, always repeats itself. People are going to be traveling. I'm in New Orleans now. It didn't slow down much actually here in New Orleans, but you see, people are going to be out. And some of Chris is seeing now. I mean, I'm sure people will hit you all the time. What's to do? I'm getting texts right now because we haven't been hosting a lot of events. People are ready to step out as they get more comfortable with it. It's going to be an explosion of events, and we just want to make sure that we're ready to hopefully be a platform people go to, especially Black people go to for their events.
So that said, as the pendulum, like it'll eventually swing back, I'd love to hear what each of you guys would love to see done better on the other side of this. We've got an opportunity to, there's nothing but time right now. So we've got an opportunity to kind of assess the way we want to do things going forward. Kyle, I'll start with you and we'll work our way clockwise.
Yeah, I just feel like I guess one thing that I would like to see people do better is just kind of be self-invested. You know what I mean? I think that the pandemic has forced people to kind of start thinking along those lines, whether it's businesses like Jeff and Chris are talking about, or, a lot of people started to look at stocks and things of that nature during the business because we were sitting down. And for the people that were still working and not losing a paycheck, now you're not spending all your money going out. So what were you doing with your money? You're investing. So I think I want to see a lot more people be self-invested, self-supportive, and maybe not necessarily rely on companies or, things like that to feed us anymore. You know what I mean? If we could do a better job of that, I think we'd be better off long term.
Chris?
Well, I think specifically in my industry, one thing that I want to see us do better is organize. I think that we've everybody that's worked in the events industry throughout this pandemic had to have picked up some skill because it has not been easy. I also want our customer service to improve, specifically because people are really appreciative of the events that we've been throwing, and in return, we should appreciate them. I know when we got this whole event thing taken away from us, I never realized how big of a part of my life it was. I'm actually really grateful that we are allowed to get out in some sorts, and I'm looking forward to us really being like that Roaring 20s, like they were saying. I'm looking forward to that, man. I want to see more people out having a good time. Safely.
Right. Jeff?
Definitely. I just want to see, I think we have more inspiration than ever before. You look at the deal Jay-Z just closed with LVMH. You look at Master P and the things that he's doing. So I just want to see ownership. And I think that Chicago's an amazing city, but that we've been behind in terms of opportunities for ownership for a lot of African Americans. And so if you look at the event industry, there's a number of folks that are I'm finding really to be inspired by. You look at Persona, you look at Bureau Bar, you look at the guys over at Flaves, and so I'm hoping that we're going to have more opportunities or access for Black people to enjoy the city of Chicago because it's a 5-star city, and every time somebody comes into town, they ask me where's to go, what's to do, and it's because there's not as many opportunities for us to have staple events, staple venues that we own and operate. So I think that's going to change over the next couple of years. I think there's going to be more opportunities for economic empowerment. From the real estate side, the South Side is undervalued, and everybody's investing on the South Side.
Right.
So there's a new gaming center coming to Bronzeville. A lot of new opportunities coming in, and so I think the city of Chicago is going to change and open up for folks like us to do more.
Let me ask you, Jeff, what do you get a sense of the kind of people that are investing in the South Side right now? Are they people from here? Are they Black people? Are they opportunists?
Great question. Not enough of us. There's opportunities for more of us. There are some of us doing some great work. Shout out to Mike Altimer. He's a developer doing a lot of work in Woodlawn. But you see that the majority of folks who've been investing originally are not from our community. So, I mean, we've seen what can happen when folks come and integrate and take over our neighborhoods. But what I love is that more and more people are on the social media talking about real estate, talking about cryptocurrency, talking about investing. So I think that there's definitely an upward trend in terms of us just thinking on a higher level about how to improve ourselves and our communities. But there needs to be more. Like there's opportunities like South Shore, Chatham, places that, Inglewood, of course, that a lot of folks who don't look like us are taking over. But again, there's a lot of us that are doing some great work as well. So.
That's awesome. Well, we're all brought together because next Tuesday we're all involved in a big event. The showcases that Mark Hubbard and Next Showcase and Reggie do to bring talent from around the city into one room so that industry bigwigs and people that can provide opportunities that they otherwise would not receive can all be in one room and can get feedback. We can hear and see who the next big thing is. And so that's all moved to our laptops or phones or however you're going to take it in Tuesday evening. Let's bring in the rest of the showcase gang. We can't hear Reggie.
The brothers will make it happen.
Probably good if I turn my camera on. Sorry about that.
You had your camera off. I had my mic off, so I think that even balances things out.
Yeah. All right. So, fellas, tell us about what folks can expect Tuesday.
Well, Tuesday, as you said earlier, we put together a showcase to provide an opportunity for up-and-coming artists to showcase their talent in front of industry professionals like Sigmas, Jeff, and Kyle. And we give them an opportunity. We have 15, or is it 14, Reg? Which one is it?
15 artists that will be performing.
Yeah. And it's going to be a great show. Each artist gets a certain amount of time and a lot of incentives that comes back for. Before the pandemic, we had a lot of things with festivals. Now, of course, we have a lot of virtual things that were happening. And this particular time, the showcase, again, as someone was talking about, we're going to be doing it in a safe manner. So only the panelists, the staff, and the artists themselves will be in person, and everybody else will be able to watch online.
What's the breakup look like of artists this year or this coming week? Is it how many are rap? How many are R&B? The wonderful thing about this showcase is that there's been some of everything on that stage.
It's a great mixture of everything. This show we do have the hip hop, the rap, gospel. We have a couple gospel artists. We have someone that's doing a cover from the greatest showman. So it's going to be a variety of music. All of it, of course, good music.
And my heartbeat has, when we first started the organization, my heartbeat has always been to provide a platform for up-and-coming artists. Someone gave me an opportunity, and when I became the Midwest chapter president for the Grammys, I saw this opportunity that was able to meet a lot more industry professionals to actually bring people together so they had that same opportunity. A lot of times we say, man, I want to get on that big stage, and they say, well, you have to put in the work. And a lot of times, put in the work means they need to have an opportunity for somebody to actually see them. So we decided to provide that platform so people can see them, so they can put in the work, so they can hit that major stage. And so that's what the heartbeat is about for Next Showcase USA.
Kyle, you're our host for Tuesday night. You spend a lot more time with the artists than any. I'm one of the judges than we do, really. What's the mistake that you think that they make before they get on that stage so that they can correct right now?
Oh man. To be honest, a lot of the artists that have been coming through Next Showcase seem a lot more polished than artists that I run into in the street. So there's not really not big mistakes I see. The one thing I would kind of always encourage the artists to do that I do see sometimes is, this is not you doing your song in the studio. This is not you doing your song in your bedroom. This is you doing your song to an audience. So you have to perform for the audience. You know what I mean? So sometimes I do see the mistake of artists not necessarily engaging with the audience. If they have somebody on stage doing the lyrics or whatever with them, they might be interacting with that person. But don't be looking side to side to your homie. You need to be looking straight ahead, singing these songs and making the artist feel like you are really there for them. So that would be probably the biggest thing I see sometimes.
Chris, you're on the panel as well. What are you looking for when you're looking for artists to help out?
Well, two things. One, relevance. Just seeing if the type of music that they're making, how can I be of service to them? Like, is their music relevant in this time? Is this something that is more so just a hobby for them? Like, how serious are they? Also, what I'm looking for is just overall preparedness. So many people come in, they don't even like check their Wi-Fi. They haven't ran through the show. Do all of that before you get on stage, so you know it sounds good, the lighting's good. I mean, you should be going through it maybe at least an hour before, just to make sure that everything is going right. So, yeah, it's your opportunity to shine. So definitely don't waste it.
Right. Reggie, were you gonna say something?
So to Chris' point, we are preparing to present a great show on Tuesday. We will be loading in at 12 o'clock. We have our sound check at 4:30ish, and so 3. So yeah, we have a full day lined up. So when we hit the stage at 7, we are hoping that everything will be as best as we can possibly present.
Sure.
And I do want to thank you guys, all of you, for being a part of the showcase. And Jeff, we've been using Event Noir for the last couple of years, using our tickets. And the platform is great. It's easy to use, easy to set up as it relates to selling tickets. You can have your individual artists have their own individual links. So it's a great ticketing tool. If you guys have not used it, I do suggest using it for future events.
And I just want to piggyback on that as well. So in the process of just putting this show together with the Chat and Chill, we really wanted to highlight and really take an opportunity to thank some great men in the giants in the industry here in the city of Chicago. And we want to start off with these 3 gentlemen because not only have they been great supporters of Next Showcase USA, but they are doing great things in the city of Chicago, providing opportunities for our up-and-coming artists and main artists as well. So we want to just kind of like talk to them about what they're doing, highlight them in there, and also thank them for what they continue to do to help provide opportunities with Next Showcase USA. Because again, without people like Kyle, Sigma, and Jeff, we wouldn't be able to actually function. Like I said, we 4 years now, Reggie, into the business. A couple 4 years, but I pay a lot of attention to Jeff, pay a lot of attention to Sigma and things that they've been doing around the city. Of course, hey, you cannot be in the city of Chicago and not listen to Kyle. There's no way. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hear them on 7.5. But again, I paid attention because we're new to the whole event area. We can always talk about Tyra because she's actually on staff in Next Showcase USA as well, so we know she does a lot. But these gentlemen here, we're new to the event space and new to providing opportunities, and just to watch them as role models to how they do things and how they are good. I'm cutting you out so for the message word. Excellence. Say the word for me, Reggie. Excellence. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That word.
I got to cut you guys off because Mark and Reg, what you guys are doing for the city and for artists is selfless. It's a huge sacrifice. You guys are giving them a platform that's needed. When you look at cities like Atlanta and what they're doing for their artists, and the fact that we don't necessarily have that between you and Kyle and even and Chris, and what we have the power to do together to uplift artists, it's not even something that I thought about until you guys have been doing this. So salute to you guys and what you guys are doing because it's selfless and it's going to be amazing for the city.
It is very professionally put together and presented. That's the good part about it. Yeah. Anybody can do an open mic, but you guys are doing it in a way where the platform is respectable and professional. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we kept searching until we got that right host. And Kyle came in there. People don't know, Kyle actually started off as a panelist. He started off as a panelist. So I said, I know he does every day. So I don't want to ask the man to host. But it's like, let's take a chance. Man, they got that. Listen, our show was normally going like 4 hours. Yeah. That bath was done in 2.5 hours.
I get up. Yep.
Yeah, I'll do all that, man. Who's up next? Be ready to go. You on stage as soon as they're done. We're not doing a whole lot of talking between Let's get it going.
And not a lot of pieces of paper either. So we got that too for you, Kyle.
Yeah, my man.
Seriously, Jeff. Again, as I said, I'm taking over Tyra. She'll probably text me later. I'm taking over her show. But anyway, I want to say again, yeah, just watching you guys though, seriously, I told Kyle, man, like I was paying, me and Jeff, we'd already connected with Kyle. I was like, man, this Sigma guy is killing this city. You know what I'm saying? Like, God, I just want to meet the brother because I just saw all the great work that he was doing. I mean, again, especially like pre-pandemic, like, if you got into one of Jeff's or Sigma shows, man, listen, for real, because I mean, they were always packed out. Lads around the crowd. I was like, man, dude, just the whole watch how you guys put things together, and literally there's no drama, all that stuff is just good professional events. And so, like, we just strive to, again, be at the same level, and just to have you guys as partners and as supporters, as sponsors to what we do, we have greatly appreciated. And again, like I said, we appreciate what you guys are doing for the city also, because as a team, and one thing I know, right, when you mentioned Atlanta, from what I see, Atlanta people work together. They really do come together. They work together, and we are really beginning to build that more here. And we got a long ways to go, but we're getting ready to really build that more here in the city of Chicago. So when you see us all coming together like we do, it's for a purpose. Again, we can't do it by ourselves. It's for a purpose, and we appreciate you all. Tyra, like I said, she's part of the family. She's on the staff, so but hey, what she does with WGN, allowing artists to actually perform there, that's really big. And so that's what our heartbeat is about. And you guys provide platforms. So I'm gonna stop talking, but I want to just again say that we do appreciate you guys and what you guys bring to the table. You guys are doing great things, not just here in the city of Chicago, but around the world. But we definitely appreciate you guys for soaring into what we're doing and being a part of it, and continue to do what you guys doing.
Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate that, man.
Look at that.
Hey.
There you go.
I want to say this about Atlanta. Half of Atlanta is from Chicago, so I don't know why.
The other half is from New York. So
right. I don't get it.
They working together out there though.
So
and that's why I'm sorry. I said I was gonna stop talking out loud twice, but that's another thing that I'm like, I love my city. I was born and raised here. I think I'm probably the oldest on this panel. Yep, I am. You have to agree, Reggie. You good? All right. But like, I wanted to see our artists and our people stop moving away and actually have what we need to have right here in the city of Chicago. So that's really a big heartbeat for me, that they don't have to move away to Atlanta or New York or someplace else to get what they need. So the more that we come together and the more that we continue to build here like that, I want to be able to say, hey, Chicago, literally, we can provide everything. You don't have to go away just to get it.
For sure.
Yeah, we've got the resources. Certainly, This is the third largest market in the country. There's no reason.
I say it all the time. I agree.
Thanks.
Yes.
All right, Bill, any last words? Anybody have anything profound to contribute to the conversation?
Actually, what do they have coming up? I mean, I know Sigma may have some events. Kyle, he got his little event thing going on now. He got his company, LSCs, and Jeff. So what you guys got coming up soon? Next, outside of Tuesday, nothing Tuesday. Just we're doing Tuesday. No, I'm gonna meet Tuesday. Don't say nothing about Tuesday.
Well, I don't have anything coming up. I'm just glad that I'm finally vaccinated and ready to even start thinking about that. So that's it.
You muted yourself, bro.
Yeah, my bad. So that's it for me, man. Just kind of looking forward to kind of getting back into the swing of things.
I have a bunch coming up. I'm actually on my way to my event today at Hubbard Inn. So that's at 2 p.m. Then I'll have all day tomorrow, Sunday at Joy District, and next week, Friday through Sunday, man, 4 events. Friday night. You said it one more time.
Booked and busy.
Oh yeah, very much so, very much so. And then obviously Tuesday we're going to be rocking with the next showcase. So I'll be there too.
Jeff,
we're going to be they're going to be airing episode 2 of the Mountain Dew Real Change Opportunity Startup Challenge. Myself and 4 other Black startups are going to be competing for a pool of $1 million. So they're airing episode 2 next week. If you check it on BET's YouTube channel, it's going to be there, and they're airing episode 3. So we're just kind of seeing who's going to be the winner. But, we represent Chicago and we do our things.
Congratulations, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. That's it right there.
That's big.
Thank
So
you.
I believe everybody's contact information will be on our lower thirds or be posted. So you guys, if you miss what they have going on, you can always follow them on their social media outlets and continue to see what all of them have going on here in the city of Chicago, including us. You know, download that app.
Watch WGCI in the morning. Please listen to Kyle.
Yep, 1075 WGCI Monday through Fridays. Make sure you check us out, man. iHeartRadio app and all of that.
Absolutely.
All right. Absolutely. Sounds good. All right. Mark, tell us again, what are the details for Tuesday night? How can folks join?
Go ahead, Reggie. You do it better than I am. Go ahead.
So Tuesday, you can purchase your ticket now. You can go to nextshowcaseusa.com to purchase your ticket. Once you purchase your ticket, we will send you the link to join us on Tuesday. And you can also join us via our app. You can download the app. The app is available on Google Play as well as the Apple App Store. You can download the app now. That will be used during the show as well. We have the People's Choice Award that we will be doing that will be accessible through the app as well that night. So if you're coming, download the app, get your ticket. We love to see you. We have a pre-show that's starting at 6:00, and the show will be starting right at 7.
So yeah, let me correct you right quick. So we won't be seeing them, but you go ahead and download the app.
They will be seeing us.
Yeah, that's the quickest way to actually get the tickets. You know, he mentioned the website, but just download the app. There's a click right there. Link. You can click on it and always go ahead and purchase the tickets, and then watch us virtually through our app. But you can't come to the venue.
Yeah, we haven't even shared the venue.
Yep.
Most people don't know where it's at.
The back cave.
Just in case one of the artists slip up and tell you where they're going to be at, there's going to be a heavy security, so you won't be able to get in. So I'm warning you up front. Just go ahead on and watch it online, though. Please purchase. It's only $5. $5. $5.
All right. Much love, everybody.
Much love.
We'll see y'all.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right, so that's our show for today. Thank you for joining us. Please come back and hang out with us again on Tuesday evening. Again, all that information is online. You can follow Next Showcase USA on any of the social media platforms. You'll find the information there. And then get a sense of what you, if you're a musician or the musicians or artists in your life, might be able to do for the next one. We're always looking for the next big thing. So thank you for your time this afternoon. I apologize for the excessive blinginess. This is the first time I've seen it with this. Wow. This is the first time I've seen it in direct light. So we will temper this next time. But I hope that your light shines brightly this weekend and in all your days. See you.